Live streaming is on.
Good morning, everybody. On this wet, rainy hump day, the heat broke a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit cooler for the next couple days. Yay on that. Heat's coming back next week. Whoo! But I posted um, in a previous lesson a list of all of the clean sweep locations and water fountains and locations that the city has available. If it's too warm in your home, places where seniors can go, where the kiddos can be out in the water splashing around. Um, if anyone needs that list, let me know. I posted it. I believe it is in, as I said, the reading classroom, but check also in the social studies or science for it. Uh, that information is posted for everyone to use. Right now, it's 67 degrees, so we know the heat is broken here. Out west, their heat's coming back. Their crazy, crazy heat, all the way up into northern Canada, is coming back. And in Canada alone, 100 and some people died. It's a serious thing, as you know. What we experienced when it was in the high 90s week before last. So I think um, best wishes and hopes for folk to endure, have to endure that. And all of this is a direct result of climate change. It's a real thing. Anyway, we're going to move on to reading. It's 11:30. I'm glad you're here. Let me hear from you if you are here. So we're going to start reading. We're going to talk about figurative language. So when we speak in literal terms, we speak of things as they actually are. Um, this is a green mug. But if you were to speak of this mug in figurative language, um, this is a cup of sunshine, right? It's like a cup of sunshine. That's figurative language. So we're going to start talking about that. That is a way that your writing comes alive, comes off the page, captures the reading. You'll see figurative language a lot in poetry. You may hear it in music. Um, in certain types of literature. And again, it makes your, it fires your imagination. It makes you envision things or feel things. That is the author's purpose. So that's figurative language. We're going to learn about one type. We're going to take them one at a time. We're going to talk about one type today. Let me give you something to look at. So we're going to start with figurative language, how it's looked at in a poem. And this is a video I want you to watch again on your own because the I have muted the narration because you generally can't hear it. So I'm going to read it. I hope you can hear me as you watch this. We'll see how this little experiment works. But let's start. There's a 12th Song of the Thunder, which is a Navajo thunder song. And it reads, "The voice that beautifies the land, the voice above, the voice of the thunder within the dark cloud. Again and again it sounds, the voice that beautifies the land, the voice that beautifies the land, the voice below, the voice of the grasshopper among the plants. Again and again it sounds, the voice that beautifies the land." Is there any figurative language here? Does thunder actually have a voice? It does not. Does not. But we know what thunder sounds like, and so we can imagine what the author is speaking about here. Let's go on, and I'm going to take it little by piece. I may slow down some of the narration as well. How do you understand when a poet is using words that have double meaning? In this lesson, You will learn how to notice figurative language in a poem by looking for double meanings in words. Let's review. When something is literal, it is the dictionary definition of a word or a phrase. For example, a fox is an animal that lives in the forest. If I'm using figurative language, a creative way to say something or comparing two things. For example, you are a fox means that you are sneaky or sly. And we also used to say back in my day, if you were a fox, that meant you were a dime, you were fine. Women, let's go on. Review, for example, and this one I know you've all heard all your life. It's raining cats and dogs. And so if we were to take that literally, cats and dogs will be falling from the sky. So we know this is figurative language because I've never seen it. However, I just looked this up, and that this is an old saying that goes back to early England when their roofs were covered with thatch, which was like straw or hay. And when it would rain, it would get real soggy. And sometimes, if cats and dogs were up on their roof, they'd fall through. So I never even thought about the origin of that. And I just happened to see it. And I said, okay, so it actually came from something literal. But when we talk about it now, we can't imagine cats and dogs falling from the sky, right? Figuratively, it's raining cats and dogs. So here's a common mistake in thinking that a poet is speaking literally when they're not. They are speaking figuratively. And here's an example. The sun smiles upon me. The sun isn't smiling at you. But when we say the sun smiles upon me, the sun is in the sky and warms my skin. It feels like it's smiling when it's a spring day, right? We know the sun doesn't have a face. That is not a literal statement. It is a figurative statement. Waiting for it to go to the next slide. Here we go. The core lesson about this poem. Is there any figurative language here? The voice that beautifies the land, the voice above, the voice of the thunder, the voice that beautifies the land. What does it really mean, the voice of the thunder? For the thunder to have a voice, what are we talking about? In literal terms, the thunder is talking, what's up? And we know that's not the case. That's not in reality. But figuratively, we're saying what? What does it mean for the thunder to have a voice? What do we know? Thunder is loud. What else? Boom, right? And when it sounds, it makes noise over and over again. Boom, boom, boom. You have those big, wild summer thunderstorms. I actually love that, y'all. So, the poet is comparing the sound of thunder to a talking voice. Boom, boom. That equals a person talking. When it makes sounds, it makes noise over and over again. So what we've done is give nature human characteristic, and that has actually a word. It's called personification. You don't need to worry about that right now. So core lesson, we're going to look for figurative language, and two, we're going to ask ourselves, what does this literally mean? And then number three, we're going to ask ourselves, what does this really mean? So, in this lesson, you have learned how to notice figurative language in a poem by looking for double meaning in words. And that's it. So, let's go back and look at another um, term that writers, another part of speech that writers or speakers use to exaggerate for emphasis or for effect. It's something called hyperbole. Okay, you gonna let me look at it? Okay, give me 1 second. It's not letting me, so I've got to pull it up. Hold on. Sorry about this, y'all. Um, hyperbole. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Hyperbole is when the speaker or writer exaggerates for emphasis or effect. Hyper is a Greek word that means over or beyond, and bole or bowl means roughly it means to throw. And so the word hyperbole, it's not pronounced hyperbole, but hyperbole means to overthrow or go over. So again, it's raining cats and dogs, which is an exaggeration. And number two, nobody listens to that song anymore. Well, somebody's listening to that old song. Oh, Mr. Johnson has been here teaching since the Stone Age. Okay, we know this man ain't been here for 12,000 years, right? And forget knocking it out of the park. Frank can knock a baseball off the continent. And here's my favorite one, these shoes are killing me. They're not really killing me, but they are sure aggravating. And so hyperbole can be an effective technique for getting your point across. And as you continue studying and reviewing this concept, be conscious of the fact that hyperbole is often confused with understatement. And when you make an understatement, you say too little or you minimize the effect of a statement. That is the exact opposite, right? So let's look at some more hyperbole or exaggerations. That's what we call them, exaggerations. Um, Charlie gazed hopelessly at the endless pile of bills stretching across the counter. If the bills feel like they're endless when we know we don't have enough money, or we're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, right? It's not endless in reality, but it feels that way. That woman has no self control. Well, she has some, but not in every area. I think that might be like most of us, right? That was the easiest question in the world. Method three. Here's another one. Nothing can bother him. Is that really true for people in general? Nah. Number five, I can smell pizza from a mile away. Six, I went home and made the biggest sandwich of all time. Seven, my dad is always working, always working. It feels that way when you're a kid. Eight, Patty drank from a bottomless glass of Kool-Aid. So I don't have a worksheet attached. Lucky y'all today, right? No worksheet attached, but really just wanted you to get what hyperbole is. It is exaggeration. So we're going to look at some more parts of speech and then you will see them um, on some kind of evaluation. So that is all we have for today. I will see you tomorrow for our writing block and science. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day.